Hello, everyone, and welcome to our presentation. We had a little bit of a change here. Before, this was supposed to be slated as a live presentation. Some circumstances popped up that require my attention. So I am recording this presentation, and thank you for everyone for accommodating. Jonathan Casper is here in the chat to be able to answer any questions that you might have during the presentation. But if you have any remaining questions, feel free to direct them to me by emailing me at brian.mccullough@tamu.edu. So let's get started. And I'm presenting on behalf of my colleagues, Jonathan Casper and Danielle Smith. So what we found in previous literature is that sport entities are effective platforms to promote environmental sustainable behaviors. And building off of this, we can also look at internally, it is important to have the support of upper management. And these managers are oftentimes concerned of the financial and social returns on investment of such efforts to be able to promote environmental sustainability behaviors. There's concerns that fans might not respond well, that there's not necessarily financial returns on investment, that they're just kind of a cost rather than a revenue generating opportunity. And so to be able to kind of alleviate these concerns, get these upper managers on board to accelerate the speed of which these initiatives are implemented, it is important to really be able to demonstrate through data that fans are responsive to these messages and that they all actually support potential corporate partners. And so the purpose of this study was to evaluate McCullough and Trail's extension of the SSCEM that incorporated ascription of responsibility, perceived fit, responsiveness to messaging on the support of corporate partners and sustainable behaviors. And so this extension really wanted to, that McCullough and Trail proposed and tested from a national sample were incorporating these aspects to really be able to have a more robust model and building off of that. And we'll get to that here and explain that here now. So the sports sustainability campaign evaluation model is inclusive of several existing theories and frameworks that you can see here. Trail and McCullough used this model within the context of various sustainability campaigns, both on the social, health, and wellness side, but also environmental initiatives. However, points of attachment and attitudes towards the campaign typically were not or was not significant, especially if they focused, and I say we here, but if they focused on attachment to the team. And so to kind of accelerate this and within the context of this study, we look at not an individual team, but an athletic department that is inclusive of obviously multiple teams, but the messages are deployed from the athletic department at different sporting events. Excuse me. And so Trail and McCullough were most interested at the time with extending this model, their model, to how attachment to the team, again, in this context, the attachment to a college athletic department, out of all the other different attachments that there are, fit within the model itself. Second, they identified some constructs that the SSCEM did not incorporate that were used in prior literature that can make their model more robust, meaning the ascription of responsibility, which Casper and colleagues have tested in 2014, 2017, and 2020, and most recently now in this study. Then also looking at team and sustainability fit, McCullough and Trail found that the more ascription of responsibility an individual placed on their team to be environmentally responsible, that the perceived fit increased as well. Or excuse me, as I'm getting my words mixed up here, as team and sustainability fit increased, the ascription of responsibility that the individual fan placed on the team would increase. And so the perceived fit can be perceived as a regional significant environmental initiative or sustainability initiative, whether that be water conservation, like in the Southwest region of the United States. We see that on the Colorado River, or sometimes waste management, carbon neutrality, in other regions of the country are more significant and resonate with fans better than some more or some different environmental initiatives. We also see responsiveness to messaging from the team being incorporated in their model. And then third, they demonstrated in multiple data sets the relationship between attitudes and intentions. Thus, we're more interested in whether or not additions made sense without attitudes in the model altogether. And so they wanted to really also bring in the support for corporate green partners, bring in that financial return on investment, which we test here as well. And so this is the model that McCullough and Trail proposed, but they used a national sample. And in this case, we get more specific, looking at a specific team or athletic department in this case, and then also looking at specific environmental initiatives. So based off of McCullough and Trail's modifications, we propose the following model, examining a specific sport organization, in this case, again, a college athletic department. So to test the model, we collected data information from college football fans of an institution in the Midwest region of the United States, used an internet-based survey after the 2019 football season. In total, we had 530 responses. This was part of a broader data collection in partnership and in collaboration with the athletic department itself to evaluate their sustainability efforts and the progress they've made in this case. To put some caveats in here, the athletic department is quite notable for their efforts and their sustained efforts and prolonged efforts in this in environmental sustainability. So there is some history there, and the fans are familiar with these different initiatives. And so it's a good way to test this extension of the SSCEM. And so you can see some of our results here. With the different constructs that we had. Sustainable behaviors, it should be noted, evaluated on a percentage of time. So we asked the participants to be able to respond with the percentage of time that they engage in sustainable behaviors in their everyday life. And you can see the results here. We do have all significant results, although not all significant results are the same, are created equally. And so we have significant but not meaningful results, as you can see here with hypothesis 2A, 2B, and 4B, and hypothesis 5. But it does demonstrate that there are significant relationships, and a relationship is present, however, it is not meaningful. And so this might suggest that the different items need to be revised and refined to better capture these relationships. But ultimately, what is most encouraging is seeing the explained variance here. You can see 57.6% the variance explained of ascription of responsibility to athletics. It's explained by the fit. 52.7% of responsiveness to messaging is also explained by athletic sustainability fit. Ascription of responsibility to the athletic department, and attachment to athletics. And 12.1% of the variance of sustainable behaviors in everyday life is explained by our responsiveness to messaging from the team, ascription of responsibility to athletics. And then lastly, 45% of support for the environmental initiative sponsor is explained through sustainable behaviors. But predominantly through responsiveness to messaging from athletics itself. So in our discussion here, a discussion of our results, we fulfilled the main purpose of our study to test McCullough and Trail's extension of the SSCEM. We found that these relationships are significant, although not all are meaningful, but that, again, the relationships are present and accounted for. Specifically, we found that perceived fit predicts ascription of responsibility, stressing the importance of examining the fit of these initiatives to engage fans. So the sport organizations, sport practitioners should really invest their time to ensure that the initiatives that they are promoting make and have a logical fit to the business, or that there is a narrative that supports a strong fit between the initiative and the team itself. And so while a team in Oklahoma might be interested in promoting environmental sustainability and have environmental values. Ocean plastics might not necessarily resonate with fans as well, being in a landlocked state. Whereas down in Miami, those initiatives have gone over quite well with ocean plastics and recycling and whatnot. Just as rain conservation in Seattle might not go over, or excuse me, water conservation might not go over well in Seattle where they get a lot of rain, whereas in Southern California, Arizona, and New Mexico, where they're now in a severe drought, water conservation might make a lot of sense. And so this ultimate result also indicates fans' expectations, as demonstrated through ascription of responsibility. The expectation that the sport organization actually does something is based off of perceived fit. And so if an organization wants to manage expectations, they might even have a looser fit. Now, we would not encourage an organization to be and choose something of poor fit. But as you can see down the model, a stronger fit, the stronger the description of responsibility, and thus the stronger support of a corporate partner. And so there's better brand transfer from the sport organization that has this true value to promote environmental sustainability can be extended to their corporate partners as well, which can be quite valuable to help other organizations either deepen their commitment to environmental sustainability or engage their commitment to environmental sustainability when they see potential financial return and the financial support from corporate partners. We found that points of attachment to the athletic department was significant. More work should be done to explore whether or not other points of attachment can inspire even stronger responses, especially within an athletic department. Again, here the messages come from the athletic department as a whole and are delivered at different sporting events. It would be interesting to look at the points of attachment and compare them with, let's say, messages that are delivered from the football team at football events, or from a football coach at football events, compared to that of a softball team, men's basketball team coach, or from those individual teams themselves at their specific events, to see if there are additional influences that might be able to be leveraged further, or whether or not messages from the university as a whole might influence behaviors within a sport context as well. It is encouraging to see the strong support of corporate partners of environmental initiatives. This finding should alleviate practitioners' concerns about the negative reactions to such efforts. And so we see more and more across the literature, with some few exceptions to that a majority of fans are responsive to what their sport organization is doing with regards to environmental sustainability, that we can leverage this collective fan identification to promote more sustainable behaviors at events, but also in everyday life. And so these extensions should really be further explored in research, and even more so looking at actual behaviors of supporting the corporate partners rather than looking at behavioral intentions. So the more fans were responsive to the messaging from the athletic department, the more they intended to behave sustainably, the more likely that they were able to support the corporate partners of the environmental initiative. So we kind of see this domino effect as sport being able to really have it be a social influencer, both in a social but also in a financial return on investment. Teams should focus on increasing the responsiveness to the messaging, i.e. investing in campaign strategies like any other marketing campaign strategy. This is something that we've been touting for a very long time, and this is evidence to further support that. Then the sport organizations can increase the support for corporate partners by this proper investment. And the deeper support of corporate partners will allow for more contractual value that comes from these corporate partnerships and increase the financial returns of the organization, which should then alleviate concerns and perhaps encourage sport managers to invest further in these environmental initiatives and expand the applications of that to increase the sponsorship inventory. Some future directions of this. So the extension of the SSCEM should be applied to other sport organizations in various waves of their environmental efforts. So again, this athletic department had been well recognized for their environmental sustainability initiatives. The model should be tested within organizations that are either just starting or exploring to really promote publicly their environmental initiatives to their fans. Messaging from different sports within an athletic department, as mentioned before, and other points of attachment should also be explored. And then practitioner perceptions of these results should also be explored to see the practical value such research has on their decision-making processes. Thank you for attending. I'm sorry for running quickly through this presentation, but if you have any questions, obviously throw those into the chat. Jonathan will be able to help you and direct you to give you some responses to those. But if you have any remaining questions, feel free to contact any of us. And we hope that you enjoy the conference. Thank you so much.